Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 4. Module 4 is the second module for the cause and effect essay. We are finishing up the final draft in this module. So in Module 3, you did your brainstorm, your outline, and your rough draft with some self-editing feedback. Now you're going to take that draft and submit it to your peers. We'll do our first peer edit for this one, and then you will use some of your own editing comments, some of my comments, and then your peers' comments to create a final draft. So you'll have the week to really polish up that essay and turn in the best possible version of it. So you can see that the assignments here, we have the peer edit draft, and then our final submission, and then post-writing, just like we did for the narrative essay, and then your mid-semester reflection. This is the midpoint of the semester, as hard as that is to believe. We only have 8 modules. We're on Module 4, so you want to be thinking about like how far you've come so far this semester and what you've learned so far. So just as a reminder, I've got the cause and effect assignment in here. Again, just to make sure that you are doing what you should be doing for this essay. Some students just kind of forget about these criteria pages, and then they go off and do their own thing, and then they don't get a very good grade because they didn't actually follow the directions. So make sure that you are keeping in mind the requirements for the essay. We want those 5 paragraphs. We want to make sure that you're doing that cause and effect as opposed to something else. Probably one of the bigger mistakes I see on this essay is students not really focusing on the causes and effects, because they end up like they're trying to tell a story or they're trying to make an argument or something else, and so they're not following that correct pattern. So be thinking about like what is it that led up to and then what were the results, and so they're just different things to think about, but that relationship of causes and effects rather than telling a story is really important. So once you have you've got your draft done already, you submit it in the previous module, now you're going to submit it again to this assignment. So we're doing our first peer edit, and it's really important that you get your draft submitted on time. So you can take the same exact file that you submitted in the previous module and just submit it here. And so or submit it in both places at the same time is fine as well. So you're going to submit here. You have to have it done and submitted by Monday, June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. That is when Canvas will automatically trade your papers. If you do not have a paper submitted, you will not get a paper to look at. So that's really important to remember, is that you have to have something submitted or you're not going to get a trade. It only submits the students who have something that has been uploaded there. And that saves a lot of headaches for me down the road, because then you're not going to end up with somebody's name who is not planning on doing the assignment. So once you've done that, and then once this date has passed, over here on the side where it says assigned peer reviews, somebody's name will show up there. When you click on their name, it's going to look just like it looks when you click on submission details. This is my own submission. If I clicked on my peer's name, then it would be their submission. And I'm going to go here to view feedback. I'm not going to click on their file. I'm going to click on view feedback. If I download their file, make comments, and then like attach it back to them, they may not be able to open it. And so it makes it more complicated. Just go to view feedback and use the Canvas editing tools, because that just makes it a much simpler and cleaner process. So this, I've uploaded my outline. It's not a full essay, but that's okay. So what you're going to do then is you leave feedback for your peer just like you do for your own self-editing comments. The main emphasis that I want to make is doing these little bubble comments are ones that leave your name with them. If you just write in text, it doesn't leave your name, so I don't necessarily know whether that was you who put that comment in there or someone else. And so and sometimes I don't see them if they're like, you know, blending in with some of the words. So if I'm counting to make sure you've made enough comments, you want to make sure that your name is over here in the little bubbles. The highlighter works that way as well. So just make sure that you are getting your credit for doing the work that you are trying to do. So that is the peer edit. So once you've done the peer edit, you'll have one peer edit for this one. The next essay we're doing two. So you only have one person's name to look at, one person's draft to look at. You also have a rubric to fill out. So once you've left them feedback, once you go in, actually let me go back here. So once you see submission details, you'll see show rubric on the side. Now it's going to look different for you because I'm not actually doing a peer edit. Once you click on their name, you'll see that view feedback here and then the show rubric here. So those are the two things that you need. View feedback is where you leave inline comments. Show rubric will show you the peer edit rubric. So the peer edit rubric is just going through, you're not giving them points, you're just showing them what areas need the most improvement. So if you feel like their introduction's pretty good, then you can click on no issues. They don't need to really do anything there. But if you feel like it needs improvement, you'll click on needs improvement, and then there will be a little comment button over here, and you can leave some feedback as to what needs to be improved. Same thing with the thesis, organization, content writing. They'll have at least one of these categories that needs some work. So make sure that you are leaving some critical feedback there. So once you're done, at the bottom, there will be a submit button. Once you've submitted, you can't edit it. Why? I don't know, but I'm not in charge of things. So you want to make sure that you wait to submit until you're done. But then if you accidentally submit, then you want to leave the rest of your feedback. You can just leave in the comment right there. I'll be able to see that. It's just kind of annoying. You can't edit it. So make sure you do those two steps for your one peer. And then once you're done with that, you're ready to really revise and get that draft to the point of as close to perfection as we can get it. So I've got the link to the online writing lab if you want additional feedback. I've got some resources and some examples here, which is really good if you want to take a look at some of this is some stuff related to the, how to write about a movie that's affected your life. And then I've got some other examples here that are similar, but they're about the other topics. And then sample essay, again, making sure that you're using that MLA format. And then the submission for the actual essay is here. So you'll submit the essay. The rubric that I'll use to grade it is down here. So you can kind of see what categories you'll be graded on. And then if you want to use AI, that's fine. To just give yourself a good proofread, that's fine. Using something like Grammarly is powered by AI, but you want to make sure that you're not allowing AI to change your sentences, like your sentence structure, vocabulary, things like that. So that's that level one is, for just a proofread or to help you out with just finding errors, that kind of thing is fine. Rearranging sentences is not fine. So then once you're done with that, you'll do your post-writing reflection. And again, that's open a few days after, just so that you have some extra time to reflect on your essay, either doing an audio reflection or a Zoom meeting with me or a paragraph reflection. And then that will be the end of that essay. So we've completed the whole process for the essay. The last thing that you have in here is just mid-semester reflection. So we have the beginning semester reflection was in an email that you sent to me. Now we are reflecting back on it at the midpoint, and then you'll reflect again at the end. So at this point, you're thinking about how well you're doing with your goals and that kind of thing. For this assignment, you can do just a list, just number the questions, or you can write it out in paragraphs depending on what you prefer. But mainly thinking about like complete sentences, really thinking through, what have you accomplished so far? What do you need to make changes for at the end of the semester, that kind of thing. So since you have watched this video all the way through, if you send me an email, I will add some extra credit to your Module 4 work. I appreciate it when students take the time to actually sit and watch these videos, because it does take me a while to do them. And if you have any questions, also, please feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.